Hello everyone, my name is Thomas the Jr. here, aka Mustached, and I'm here to review the movie Crawl, which came out yesterday. This is a movie I've seen a few people actually reviewing, so I was like, okay, this seems like it could be very well interesting. It is a pretty simple story, all things considered, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad movie by any means. It's straight to the point, more or less. So, a young woman named Haley is this swimmer who's doing her best, and on the day she's getting ready back, her sister calls her, tells her about this update about this really bad weather condition that no one should be going out, and informs her to go look for their dad. So she does so. She gets stopped along the way, trying to, by this ex-boyfriend of, like, the sister's character. But she ends up going anyway. She goes up off-road and then back to one of the buildings. I assume she checked where he worked first and then made her way back to his home. She ends up doing that. She ends up finding their dog and then heading downstairs, and due to the small space between the floor and what's above, she has to primarily crawl, which, indicative of the movie to some degree, at least a good portion of the movie. So she makes her way over and sees that there's some blood afoot. So she gets a little concerned and then comes into contact with her dad, who has been munched on by a mysterious force, at least on the time being. So she proceeds to try to help him out. Tries to drag him all the way back, and lo and behold, a giant croc smashes through the stairs, and then she's forced to run all the way back, dragging him along, making sure this giant croc doesn't do any more damage. So she takes some time to recruit, and the two of them talk about, like, what happened and how that doesn't matter anymore. And there's another moment later on in the movie that's very close to this moment as well, and there are even a few flashbacks to further indicate that she was a swimmer, and her training, just so it could be like, that's where she learned how to do that thing, or that's how she's able to outswim these crocs, or whatever. So, from there, after taking some time to recruit, they're trying to look out, and she loses some items along the way. Her phone, I think she also loses her light at some point, or something or other. So she finds out soon enough that another crocodile is in there with her, with them. Also facing some of her own injuries, getting slightly bit along the way. And I don't know if this happens before or after she meets that second croc, but she looks outside when some of the water from the outside is starting to make its way inside and starting to flood the bottom of the house. She sees that there are some people outside. She's trying to get their attention. These people end up being, like, looters who are, like, late to the party, and then they're, like, trying to steal stuff. So there are two looters that are outside currently getting ready to leave, and there's one currently inside this other building. Haley tries to get the attention of them. One of the looter guys, like, sees her and then, like, moves towards her. All the while, the person on the boat, I believe it's, like, the looter's mom or whatever, ends up being attacked by one of the crocs, and then the second guy who went toward them ends up being, like, hoarded by several crocs, and then the third guy, even though he was inside a building, one of the crocs ended up in there somehow. That one was a little bit mysterious, but whatever. So all three of them die. So it's back to just Haley and her father, trying to work their way back up. The father suggests to use noise to distract one of them, or or attempt to get both of them. So they end up like separating like a few times in the movie. Another time being this time with the water rising and injuries taking hold. So he does end up distracting at least one of them, as I said. She makes her way forward, seeing the other croc there waiting as one of the other ones goes after the dad. She eventually hides out in this other corner. They wait it out a bit. The ex-boyfriend character, the sister, ends up like coming back to like in a search party. The search party guy ends up like going out, like trying to clean the boat at first, and then is like seeing something and is like moving toward it rather stupidly. He ends up dying first. The ex-boyfriend sees them downstairs. They're trying to warn him from the downstairs not to head down. But he ends up being grabbed anyway from up there. The croc like jumps up and like grabs him and pulls him down anyway. So the daughter swims back to, or Haley swims back to the father, and then they do the distraction thing. I think after that. So she's able to swim toward this like sewer area that was like connected to their house, while the father ended up like at least killing one of the two crocs. So she's heading in there in the sewer, and then she finds out that that's exactly where they were nesting. There's another one in there. She ends up getting like bit in the arm. She like guns it down, picking up a gun from a dead body that was there. So she makes her way outside after seeing a croc leave. So she makes her way all the way back up through the house, while the dad is like almost drowning at this point. But the daughter, Haley, makes it just in time to pull him out, save his life, resuscitate him successfully. So the two of them tried to head outside at this point, knowing full well that there's all these crocs still out there. There was the boat that they could head towards. So the two of them attempt to head for the boat, and she proceeds to like end up going forward to the boat, like end up like swimming there while the crocs all focus on her. She ends up getting to the boat, coming back, picking him up, and then starting to travel, only to find out that a big flush of water is heading toward them. So they end up getting swept away in the water, being dragged into another separate house completely, where even more croc anger happens as they end up getting separated a little bit. The father ends up like near the stairs, gets the dog, and as soon as like he's like about to get up there successfully, then one of the crocs grabs his arm, pulls it clean off, while the daughter makes her way over there after some croc shenanigans of her own. So the dad makes his way after dealing with his arm back to the roof of the building first. The daughter gets trapped by that croc that had just attacked him. So she ends up like heading outside the other way, and the water is still like pushing. So she ends up like outside. She ends up like scooping up past like one of those like gutters, essentially. The croc ends up getting like swept up in the heavy water. She almost ends up getting swept up too, but the father saves her. They end up hauled up on the roof. They had some flares. They picked up some during. Want to say, I forget when they picked up the flares. I think the father picked them up at some point. Nonetheless, they were using some of the flares along the way. They had, I assume they had one left, and they use it to track down this helicopter that they saw earlier. They bring it in, and the movie ends with the helicopter going towards them, and that was Crawl. Again, a pretty simple story, pretty well acted, and yeah, it was pretty good. So yeah, there were a few moments where I was like, okay, I think there were some deaths obviously there. The looters were just brought in to be like your cannon fodder, essentially. And then, there's that. But other than that, pretty good. I give it a 6 out of 10. So if you enjoyed my review, then please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also make sure to check out those links in the description. One will head you over to my Discord server, the other to my Patreon page. Any donations are greatly appreciated, and until next time everyone, bye bye!